Hello, I'm excited. So I have a simple setup in the back. Don't pay any attention to it. I have my fan that I'm wanting to turn on because it is getting a little bit warm here where I am at. However, I don't want it to overpower the live, so I'm actually not going to turn it on right now. So today I wanted to talk about overcoming burnout, specifically for autism moms, and how I have done that. Get myself situated here. How I have done that, and how, like, there's certain steps and principles and strategies that I keep in place so that I stay built up and I stay poured into. And it's challenging, especially if you are an autism mom, because there's a lot of things that goes into it. And so I will quickly share my story and the different strategies that I do. So how it worked for me, my child was diagnosed with autism. He has severe autism several years ago. He is 14 years old now. And what I recall is that I got the diagnosis, and then I quickly wanted to implement all the different strategies and therapies and all the things so that I could support him in all the ways that he needed to be supported. I also have another child, and he is 11 now. He has not been diagnosed with a diagnosis of autism. He does have sensory processing needs, dyslexia, ADHD. So he has his own um, things that he deals with on a daily basis. And I have ADHD as well. So for us, I was really busy, working and doing all the things for my kiddos. And there's a point, there's somewhere between your child receiving a diagnosis and, you know, them thriving often. There's this point in between here, because the middle part is where you're working really hard to get them the therapies, to get them everything that they need. That's the middle. But what I often find moms do, by the way, I am a certified holistic life and health coach. I used to be a CFO of an autism clinic, so I oversaw all of the therapists and the RBTs and all of the alternative therapists. We did art therapy, music therapy, all kinds of play therapy. We also had OTs, PTs, and speech pathologists. So I oversaw all of that. And then we also had like before and after care programs for kiddos on the spectrum. The bus would come to our center. So it was a full all day intensive program, and it was for families that wanted traditional therapies as well as alternative therapies. So I was able to get a really great perspective of everything that was going on. We had a very multicultural community. We had families from all over the world, and I loved doing the work to help families out. And when I first started there, actually, my son did not have a diagnosis, so that's really funny. This A lot of what I do is because I intuitively know a lot of things, but also have educated myself so that I would be able to help as many people possible. And I think that that's really important. So I said all that to say, when I would meet with mothers, often there was somewhere in between that middle part from their child getting diagnosed and them helping their child, meet all those milestones and help them have everything they need. There was like this middle part where for the primary caregiver, often it's the mom, she's working really, 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 really hard. So now not only is she a mom, whether she's working outside of the home or inside of the home as well, she's also helping to oversee these therapies, making sure that everything is in place, taking care of all of the schedules. Maybe they have in-center therapies and in-home therapies, making sure everybody gets to school and work and all of the things, and as well as whatever she has going on herself. But she's overseeing everything for this entire family. And in that middle part, if she is not careful, Meaning, if she is not practicing proper self care, I have created a program called Focusing on Our Four Intentional Needs, and that is really focusing on sleep, nutrition, mindset, and movement. And that's how we really take daily self care of our bodies and our minds and our emotions and spirits and everything, as well as our families. But if she is not careful and she is not taking amazing self care of herself, what can happen is she gets overwhelmed. It starts out when she starts to get a little bit overwhelmed, then it goes into maybe she's not feeling her best, then it goes into maybe she's having some aches and pains, maybe her mindset isn't as sharp and clear, maybe she's having some brain fog, maybe she's having a little bit of depression and anxiety, and she's chalking it up just she's overworked and overwhelmed and maybe not practicing proper time management, and she just keeps going and going and going, and eventually she can get different diagnoses for herself, maybe pertaining to her mental health, maybe pertaining to her physical health. And it can also go on just with different stages of life, as we get older, especially when we walk through perimenopause, that can affect, how we're able to show up. And what I have found is that, when I am serving different families and communities. Now I do one on one coaching for mothers who are wanting to practice really strong and amazing self care for themselves and their families so they can show up for as their best long term. I also have an online health shop, and it is filled with all kinds of amazing goodies from skincare, body care, health care, or skincare, body care, hair care. Everything is clean, also lots of nutrition. And then also, I help people that are wanting to generate wealth, adding additional streams of income so that they can be ready for whatever they have for the future, especially when it comes to caring for and preparing for different things, especially um, as it applies to their children. So, all of that being said, I want to focus now on our four intentional needs and what that actually means. So, I know for myself, I was in the middle and I started to have different struggles. I struggled with my mental health when it came to starting feeling kind of anxious, not feeling my best, and wondering like what was going on. And it took some time for me to realize what it actually was and what I thought it was. Comparing those, I thought it was just time management. But then I realized, you know what? It's actually a lot more than that. It has to do with self care and how I'm showing up for myself every day as I'm caring for others. And I thought to myself, if I'm just now having this epiphany, I bet there are other moms that are in the same boat as myself. And so that is how I came to be the mom care coach. I have a podcast. I'm literally in the middle of writing my first book, and it's all about helping mothers overcome burnout. So that's kind of the title of this video right now, and that's really how you do it by supporting yourself with your four intentional needs and really going deep into what that means for you and your healthy lifestyle. So, first of all, what I want to share is that even though there are four intentional needs, one builds upon the other, meaning that you do not have to do all of them as much as you can right now. You can start out with little trickles. Let's say you're wanting to focus in on sleep. So you really go in and you focus on sleep and you think about how can I implement certain strategies and tips throughout my day to set me up for having really great quality restorative rest at night. What are some things I can do? Maybe I can minimize the blue light and like an hour or two before I have no blue light on. That means no iNess, no iPads, iPhones, MacBook Pros, none of that. No smart TVs. Maybe that means I'm going to get some Himalayan salt lamps so that it makes the lighting more conducive for sleep. Maybe that means I'm going to have a hot bath or maybe drink a cup of tea. Maybe that means I'm going to do some journaling before bed. There are so many different things that we can do to support ourselves and our health and those around us, but it really does mean that we have to put on our oxygen mask first, because we can't support anyone else if we can't breathe. That, if we are drowning and we can't breathe and we are struggling so much, how can you support an entire family? So that is what I really focus on. And you know what? If you are a mama and you feel like you have the whole um, sleep really dialed in, that's awesome. Awesome for you. Maybe you want to focus in on nutrition first. So what about a whole foods diet? And if you have some allergens or certain ingredients that you're trying to avoid, maybe looking at meal planning. And after you've meal planned, how do you meal prep? What exactly are you going to the grocery store for? Do you need lots of snacks? There's so many things to think about, but that is so helpful for you. And by helping yourself and giving yourself what you need, it's going to help increase your energy. It's going to help with your mindset. It's going to help with you even starting to have a desire to work out and to do different things and to try maybe lifting some weights or whatever. There's so many things that can help when we start to focus in on supporting ourselves, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if you are willing to take those first steps, it's going to help you um, really be able to show up in the way that you really want to anyway. So maybe you are a person and you're like, well, okay, so I'm good on nutrition, I'm good on sleep, but I tell you what, that movement and mindset is a little bit tricky for me. So I have something called you pull a weed, plant a seed. You know, I heard it years ago. And in my training, when I was actually becoming a certified holistic health coach, I remember hearing that training, and it's all about thinking about your mindset and what it is you're actually thinking about and helping to support yourself. So, you know what, you have like a thought that you know is not serving you. So you can like pull a weed, take that thought out because it's not a thought that's serving you, and plant a thought that is serving you. When it comes to planning of thoughts, your first mindset may think, okay, that's affirmations. Yes and no. Yes, it can be affirmations, but it must be something that's believable, that your brain will believe that's true for you. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And there's a lot of research around that supports it. So you need to make sure that it is something that is true for you. Can you really accomplish it? Is it something that is true in your life right now? Is it something that you can believe? You have to, the whole point is that you want to be able to believe what's good and what's true and what's possible. And that helps when we are thinking about things that are actually feeding the positive mindset that we want to have, like the books you're reading, the movies that you're watching, the music you're listening to, the podcast that you may be listening to. All of that needs to be feeding a healthy mindset, because if it is not, it is feeding a negative mindset. I mean, there's a saying that I heard years ago, how it was something about a grandfather talking to his grandson, um, and the grandfather was saying that in every human being there is this struggle, there is this push and pull, and this struggle is compared to like two wolves. There's two different wolves that every person has to um, overcome and then follow in one way. One of the wolves is going to win. And the grandson said, okay, grandpa, well, which wolf is going to win? And the grandfather says that it's the one that you feed. Okay. So if you are feeding positive thoughts and you're journaling out and you're being honest with yourself, you're sharing what is true. And there are hard seasons. I have an episode from a few weeks back where I talk about that on my podcast, the Mom Care Coach. So absolutely there are hard seasons. However, how do we show up to that? That is actually the definition of responsibility, is our ability to respond appropriately in every situation. That's what responsibility is. So it's important for us to actually respond in the way that we're wanting to respond, but that is also a skill set. But you can't be successful at anything if you don't start it. So that is what's so important when it comes to pull a weed, plant a seed. Plant a seed of hope, of love, of kindness, of understanding for ourselves, giving ourselves grace and giving ourselves permissions to be who we are in that moment. It's not about toxic positivity and saying everything's great when it's not, but it is about, okay, this is where we're at. How do we move forward? What are the steps? And so we need to be thinking about certain things to actually support that. Now, the same thing when it comes to movement. I know years ago, it was during COVID, I wanted to trim up a little bit and get really strong. And what I had heard that could be really helpful, there were certain steps, and I wanted to do a lot of these things, but I know some of the things felt like they were kind of out of my possibilities just because of the needs of my household and the needs of my children. I had heard different podcasts on how to help. And so I decided to do it kind of autism mama style. And I started in one area and continued to go on. One of the things I started to do was lifting weights, lifting heavy weights, but only doing those a few times a week for a few minutes a day. It, it changed everything. It was amazing. I also started intermittent fasting, and that was really helpful for me, balancing blood sugar, really taking a look at the different foods and understanding what was going on. Because by changing these different things in my life, it gave me the energy that I needed to actually implement movement on a daily basis. I started doing Pilates every day, around 10 to 20 minutes a day. And I understood that even if I'm doing just 10 minutes, eventually it's going to build up and I am going to be able to do more and it's going to help fuel me. And it was just amazing. And so I think the most amazing thing about movement is getting started, but first finding something that you love and that you enjoy, not finding certain things and say, this is what I have to do, even though it feels awful and like a chore. You don't want to do that. You want to find something, some movement that you enjoy, whether that's Pilates or playing basketball or hula hooping or going walking. There's so many different things you can do. And I know when I first started, I wanted to be outside all the time. However, if you have a kiddo that struggles with elopement, sometimes it's not that easy. So, having in home programs is really effective as well. And then starting somewhere, maybe as your kiddo gets older, different things you can implement other options. Maybe you have respite care a couple times a week, and then that's another opportunity for you to be able to do that as well. Or maybe after your kiddo is sleeping, you can make laps around your house or different things. I tried it all, and I've done so many things over the years. And so on this channel, I really want to start going live more so that I can give you different tips that I have found to be really effective. And then I'm going to break those down so that this one is around 20 minutes, but like other future not episodes, but lives can be much shorter. It can be anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. So I hope that you stick around. I hope that this is something that has been interesting to you. Please do not forget to check out my podcast called The Mom Care Coach. It is on iTunes, Spotify, all the typical places that you can find a podcast. It's also in this description box. As I said, I am in the middle of writing a book, and I will let you know when that is done and all the places that you'll be able to purchase it. There will be lots of places on different apps, as well as Walmart and Target and Amazon to be able to get the book. And then also, if you're needing support, one-on-one coaching, I am, as I said, a certified holistic life and health coach. So I loved helping people, all things autism mama. If you are a mom that is wanting support, especially when it comes to burnout or compassion fatigue, I have a lot of tips up my sleeve for that one. And so just reach out to me. I do believe that my email is listed in the description box, and I look forward to speaking with you next time. Thanks.